So in this video, I'm going to show you how to apply the lighting principle into your artwork. So as most of you can see, I'm going to be using the Autodesk Sketchbook. So most of the method I'm going to be using is the very basic ones, because Autodesk Sketchbook isn't known for having a lot of tools and features into it. So bear with me on this video. Now, what all of you need to remember about using the lighting principle is that there are three elements that needs to be remembered: base, shadow, and highlight. Applying all those three, you can basically just apply the lighting principle on anything. But for this video, we're going to apply it on the most basic artwork, not the complex one, because this video is going to be for beginners. So we're going to use anime face line art. So for the line art, you can actually just look it up in Google, find one, just search it up. Basically just type anime face line art or in any other composition, as long as anime face and line art. Just pick one, copy, and then paste it on your canvas. Just pick one that looks simple, okay? Because you want to try out this method, not try to impress yourself that you can paint very well. No, this is just, tutorial, trying out stuff. So yeah, pick one simple one. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to basically erase the white part of the picture that we just copy pasted. To make that process easier, we're going to turn the background into any other color but white. Usually gray, because obviously it's a JPEG picture, and JPEG always have a background, a white one or any other. So to use this line art, we need to clear out those white background. So we're going to use the select tool. Just use it, click on the white areas, and then press delete. That way you can start deleting most of the white background. Simple enough process, as you can see. Now let's continue on. Turn back the background into white so we can start doing the process. Now what we want to do is basically close up the neck, because the next step is going to be practically impossible with that big gap between two lines. So we're just gonna connect it up. Yep. Just remember that there's a tool called Steady Stroke. I forgot. Fix that. Here we go. Steady Stroke. That looks better. Now we're just checking out the finer details, making sure this line art doesn't have like a hole. This is to make sure the next step doesn't get messy. Now we're going to select. Just pick the select tool and then click the area outside the face itself, and then you just click on the inverse. The result with the select will start to surround the face itself instead of picking the area outside the face. Next step is we're going to start painting the base. With the face being selected itself, we can start picking any skin color that you can pick off and just paint bucket everything. Now we're going to prepare two more layers, and we're going to set the blending mode to multiply and screen. This is for preparing basically the shadow and the highlight. Now we're gonna take a look a little bit about how to paint a shadow and the highlight. Using the lighting principle, you can basically figure out that the area that is facing the light becomes brighter while the area that is opposite to the light becomes darker. This is the basic. How to apply it can vary. Using these references that you can find in Google, you can see that there are differences in mapping the highlight and shadow based on how complicated the drawing is. Oh, look at that. Very complicated. We might touch about that one later. And that one. Okay, let's go back. Just to instill something that must be remembered, layer blending can really help in instilling the shadow and the highlight in your artwork. You don't even need to change the color of your paint. Basically, the layer blending itself will do the work for you. That's the advantage of digital art. So, turning the layer blending to multiply will turn the colors into the shadow color, while the screen will turn the color into a highlight color. Keep that in mind, alright? This applies to any digital art software. Well, any self-respecting digital art software, that is. I mean, not everything. Yeah, I'm talking about Paint.
Look at this dude.
And just to remind one last time, multiply is for shadow, screen is for highlight. It works on any digital art software. Okay, now that we already set up the layers, we can start the painting process. We already paint bucketed the base, so this makes the other steps much easier. All we have to do is just follow the references or basically the idea that comes in our head when we imagine where the light comes from. Say, for example, for this artwork, the area comes from that direction, from the front. All we have to do is just paint on the multiply layer using the same color. It's still the same color, and just basically use a really big brush and just paint the base that's going to be the shadow of it. Yep. Just paint over it. We can refine it later. Yeah, we can just refine it using the eraser tool. Sometimes when you want to make like really harsh lighting. No. What's it called? I don't know what it's called. Let's call it harsh border. There's a transition between the base and the shadow. It can be soft and it can be hard. If you want to make the border looks really harsh, you can just use the hard eraser. But if you want to make the border looks really soft, almost gradient-like coloring, you can just use the soft eraser. It's the most easiest tool to use. You might think of using, you can also use the blurring tool, I guess, but like, I prefer the soft eraser. Look at that. You can start to see like the finer gradient coloring. I didn't even use the gradient paint bucket tool. I just used the soft eraser. Yeah, the transition becomes really smooth and you can start to see that really nice coloring between the base and the shadow. Though the reference doesn't actually show something like that, it depends on what you like, I guess. Now, one of the most important part about shadowing is actually mapping where the shadow details are at. Because our face has a lot of shapes, okay? If if you look at the Asaro head again, you can basically see there's various of shapes on our face and body in general. But anime art style basically simplifies the shape of our head or our body, and you can basically just, you don't need to like map it out very detailedly. You can just make it less appearance. In this case, I made it look worse because I tried to make it very detailed. Just less is more, okay? We need to make it more so detailed. Remember guys, there is an actual saying that says less is more. Yep. We're just about done with the shadow. Now we can start going over with the lighting. And to that, just move to the layer with the screen blending mode. Yep. Now for the lighting, it's a little bit more special case than the shadow. Because lighting, in this case, we don't want to make it too apparent. Because if we make the lighting too apparent, it'll just clash with the shadow and eventually you'll have nothing. You'll have just a black and white. No, we don't want that. We want to make it seamless. It's beautiful and doesn't clash with everything. We want to make everything blends, alright? So we just use the airbrush. Use the airbrush and touch upon the face a little bit. Make sure that the area that you airbrush is still using the same color. The area that you airbrush is basically the direction of which the light is coming from. So just, click on it once or twice. We want to achieve that really seamless gradient like coloring again, just like with the shadow, but this one is even more seamless. It's barely noticeable, but when you look at on the overall, it's basically there and you can see it and it looks good. I mean, just show it to other people and they'll probably notice it better than you would. Yeah. Also, some highlights on the lips, because usually the lips reflects light even better than most of our face, I guess. That's a messy part. How am I forgetting how to basically highlight the lips? Pretty simple. Okay, that's not good. Okay, I'll learn how to do it again. Yeah, just make it more seamless. You can basically use any tool, but soft eraser basically my recommendation. If you use the blurring tool, it kinda like achieve the result you might want, but it's kinda messy. To which you like, I guess. Just achieve that transitioning color. Let's see. Who cares? And voila. Let's just start adding more highlight, more details into the other part of the face, like the cheek. And you can actually start adding highlight the area that's actually shadowed as well. This is what we call reflective highlight. Alright, we're basically done with the whole process. Now we can just basically start coloring every other stuff. I don't know, coloring the pupil, adding color to the lips, and then everything else. We start coloring the hair as well. That's basically painting the lighting principle on an anime face. Hope that was helpful, and I guess that's basically it. Okay. Now you can experiment all you want. See ya.